Hi there. I'm Dr. Angela Loria, the Author Incubator, and I am so excited to be joined today by my guest, best-selling author, and my friend, Debbie Lazinski. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela.
And so we're going to talk about your journey of writing your book, No Time to Lose, and your journey over the last, let's see, the first time you came here was a little over a year ago, a year and 2 months since this journey began. So I want to talk about what the last 14 months has been like for you. But I want us to go back first and talk about where you were in your business, where you were with your coaching practice, when you had the idea, oh, I think I might want to write a book. How'd you get that idea? How'd you find me? Tell me a little bit about where you were before we started working together.
Okay. Well, the thought of writing a book came to me long before I became a coach. Because, as you know, I went through this transformation where I lost 185 pounds. And somewhere about 1/3 of the way through, I realized that I needed to share this message with the world because it's not as complicated as the diet industry would like you to believe. And with the right tools and guidance, you could do this. And I felt a responsibility, a calling to let as many people know what I had discovered. And so I decided that I was going to open a nutrition counseling practice. And I did, and it was going fairly well. But I was working really hard, and I was getting some good success.
So I want to back up even more just for a second. You had a successful corporate career. You worked in marketing.
I was marketing and advertising for 27 years. I was responsible for huge marketing budget, live events for my clients, and it was a great career.
And one that I think I had a similar experience, but you spend a lot of time at your desk wolfing down sandwich between lunch or grabbing a cookie in the lunchroom. And what was do you share your top weight?
I was 318 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, mine's 315. So I'm with you on that. And what was it that made you say enough is enough?
Well, I had been going along at that weight for a long time. I avoided going to the doctor because I didn't want to hear him tell me one more time that I needed to lose weight.
Yes, you were well aware.
And then finally I had to go to the doctor for something, and he sat me down and had the talk with me.
I know the talk.
And he said, step on the scale. And I did. And I didn't want to look at the number on the scale, so I looked at the wall. But I didn't realize he had a digital readout of the weight on the wall. And when it said 318, I thought it was the time. Seriously. And then I looked down and he said, you're 318 pounds and you're not going to live to see your 60th birthday if you don't do something about it.
And how old were you?
I was 54 at the time, about to be 55, so I counted the number of Christmases I had left and and it just wasn't acceptable. I had things I wanted to do. I felt like I hadn't even started living because I kept waiting to start living until I lost weight. And then all of a sudden I was going to die if I didn't do something. So I clearly had a choice to make, and I chose to live. And that's how it started.
So you go on your own weight loss journey, make some pretty big revelations, which, by the way, if you would like to know those revelations, get a copy of Debbie's book. It's on Amazon. It's in bookstores too.
Soon, January, it'll be in bookstores.
Great. So you can find it in bookstores, you can find it on Amazon and see some of that. But the idea to become a nutrition counselor came during your weight loss journey.
Yes. I started to think about what's the best way to inspire other people to do this. And I guess I've always been a coach, and I just never really had the certificate to say so. But I started thinking about how I can talk to my friends and teach other people. It's a really sensitive topic, one that I did not want to deal with for a very long time. And then all of a sudden I wanted to tell everybody about it, you know? So I had to kind of make that mental switch. And I decided to get certified in nutrition counseling and also to become a personal trainer, because I really wanted to understand the mechanics behind how to move your body and how to feed your body to be healthy. And so I did that. And I started a practice coaching people on nutrition and teaching them what to eat.
And it was a local practice, right?
Local, yeah. I had an office.
An office. People came in from off the street.
Yeah, they were referred by their doctors. A lot of my doctors started referring their patients to me when they needed to get their weight under control. And I set myself up in a wellness center, a holistic wellness center, and I got a lot of referrals from there. And so my business was thriving, and I was seeing 30 clients a week at one point for a half hour at a time. And so that's a big day right there.
That's a big day right there, yeah.
Right? And then there's the follow-up work, and I was a one-man show, so canceling appointments. I felt like I spent more time canceling and rescheduling appointments. And so I learned every step of the way what not to do. And at that point, I think I was getting $50 a session. And so I soon realized that my business was not scalable, and I needed to do something else.
So why a book?
Well, it was interesting because I had gone for my life coaching certification, and you were speaking at an event.
I remember it well.
And it wasn't that long ago. I think it was May of last year.
Yep.
Right? And I felt like you were speaking directly to me. You told my story in your words, but it was the same story.
That's how I felt when I read your book. I'm like, this is my story.
And you said something that just really just got me right where I needed to be at that moment, and that was all of your experience that you had in the publishing industry meant that you were as qualified as I was in my business, and I knew how good I was at what I did. But you already made all those mistakes for me, and you paid for them, just like I paid for all the mistakes that I tried to save my clients from. So you had me at that moment, and I just wanted to know how I could work with you.
And so pretty shortly after, you came to one of our 3 days to done events. You actually came to the castle, and we did a big chunk of your book while you were here, but talk about the process of getting your book done. What worked for you? Why do you think the process was a fit? Where do you think it was most challenging, and how did I help?
You were amazingly helpful to me because I trusted you immediately. I felt so connected to you and the similarities that we had that I decided that I'm going to trust you the way I wish my clients would trust me.
Such a powerful decision.
It really was. And even to this moment, I trust you implicitly. And I'm so thankful that you came into my life at that point. And I met you in May. In August, I was here for the first time. And we spent 3 days and got a good chunk of my book done. And I came in not having written a word. I thought the way you start to write a book is with the title.
Not the way you start.
The end.
Yep.
Or happily ever after, and I had no idea. But the way that you laid out the program and designed it for us and the goals that you laid out and the milestones, it was 56 days of nonstop work. I really, really focused hard on it. But I published 56 days later. 56 days from the day I started, I was back here on the red carpet.
August 19th, and then you published on October 13th.
Yeah.
So that's just amazing to think. Like, if you've been thinking about writing a book for a while, like, there is a way to stop thinking and take action, and 56 days from now, you could have your book published.
Yeah, and I just put all the excuses and all the drama aside. No time for that. I committed to writing this book and getting it published by a certain date, and I did.
So a lot of it you wrote here, and then there was editing and some of the, design stuff. I know we did a lot of the front and back matter here. What do you think having support through that process, like once you left the castle, a lot of times people go to a writer's workshop and they leave and they have this to-do list they never get to, and then a year passes and they look at it and they're like, I don't even know what I was writing here. How do you think having support made a difference for you?
Well, it would never have gotten done without the support team that you put behind us. I knew there was a long list of to-dos. And having come from marketing and advertising, I knew how to get ink on paper and get it out. But I didn't know how to publish a book. And it's very different. And so the team that you provided us was there every step of the way to provide the cover design and the editing, and it was just a remarkable experience. I felt like I literally was incubated, like you were holding me in your hands and carrying me through this process, and I just kept trusting the process and believing in myself, and that I had a worthy story to tell.
Right.
And it just happened magically.
So 2 things happen while you're writing your book. One is you're going to get a book done. And no matter what, we know that's going to get you more clients because that's just how it works. But now we have a problem because you're already sold out. We got $50 a session, 30 clients a week, only so many hours in the day. Presumably at some point you want to do something other than work. So your business was also going through a pretty big transformation. Can we talk about how and why that happened?
Yes, as a result of writing the book, I became attractive to a wide audience, and my clients started to find me, the really committed clients and those that were willing to pay for the results and not just the half-hour sessions. I mean, I can remember a time when a client would say, well, it's only been 28 minutes. What else can we talk about?
Right. We've still got 2 minutes.
Yeah, and almost
Say
like they wanted $2 back if I didn't give them the whole 30 minutes. And those were not the clients that I was really after. I wanted the people that were more in the position like me. They were really desperate to save their lives and were willing to put in the work and the effort, and they realized that it came at a price. And so my rates literally went from $300 for a 6-week program to $3,500 for a 6-week program. And I had people lining up to ask me to take them. I became sold out with 6 clients.
That sounds like more of a life.
Right? And what I also realized is that as my clients paid more, I had to dig deeper. And I became a better coach, and I became more successful in terms of getting the results from them. And neither one of us was fooling around at that point. This was serious money. And
so this is what I always say. So people say, charge what you're worth. You have to charge what you're worth. And I would certainly argue you were worth more than $100 an hour, $50 a half an hour, right? But I don't think that's the point. I don't think you should ever think about charging what you're worth. I always like to just assume money is magical. I've never not been able to feed myself. So I will find some way to feed myself and to have a roof over my head. But I always say charge what your clients are worth. And what is it worth to, many of your clients I know have 100 pounds or more to lose. What is it worth to your family? What is it worth to your kid? What is it worth to your healthcare bills? What is it worth to your life, like the amount of years you add to your life?
And your career.
Your career.
Know? As a woman in the corporate world, I often felt judged.
Dismissed. My thing was like just dismissed.
Dismissed and not taken seriously because of my weight issue. And I knew that I shrunk back from responsibility because I just didn't want to deal with it. And so there's the cost to your career, and then the medical costs, the drugs that I was taking for high blood pressure and cholesterol and just you name it.
I was on metformin, I was on Synthroid, like all of it.
And now it's like, there's right? And yeah, so the cost is huge, it's tremendous. And then the other thing I didn't realize was the impact it had on my family. You know, they were worried about me, but they didn't know what to say. And they were walking on eggshells. And that's a huge cost as well. It puts distance between you and people. So that's not worth any amount of money.
Right. So when you think about that, it's like $3,500, of course, like to get your life again.
Yeah, I literally got my life back. I saved my life.
Let's talk about some of the results you've seen for your clients. Pretty dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
So total weight loss?
The last time I did an account, I coached over 500 people to close to 30,000 pounds in weight loss over the 6 years that I was coaching full time.
That's amazing.
Some really remarkable stories, some very unlikely, candidates, and to this day, I still keep in touch with some of them. So it's amazing. It's wonderful to be able to make that difference in someone's life.
Yeah. I had a client once who talked to me. I asked her, why is it important to you to write this book? And she said, because then I will know that everything I went through was worth it. Like there was some meaning. Do you feel like this has given meaning to your personal weight loss struggle?
Absolutely. I feel like the price that I paid all those years and the lessons that I learned were for me to give back in some way. And so yes, it's come full circle now.
It's pretty amazing. So I know that as we structured kind of a new business model, and your business model was, I think, pretty typical. It's how most people's brains go, like a per appointment. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pay per appointment. I'm going to walk into a building. Your office became less important, although we still liked the real estate, yes, especially at the beginning. Your time of having to go into the office and be there, the way you structured your program changed. And then you also discovered or rediscovered your love of live events because you had done events in your corporate world. Yeah. So let's talk about how you packaged your services. So instead of $50 per half-hour session, how did you package that? And then where did events come into it or retreats?
I went from charging per session to charging for results. This is what I'm going to teach you, and at the end of our working together, you're going to learn these things, and you will have these tools that you can continue on with or without me. And that worked very well, and that's how I managed to raise my rates over 10 times in that period of time. And then one of my clients actually said to me, I just wish we can have more time together. I really wish there was a way that I can meet your other clients, so it really wasn't even my idea. Even though I had done these events in my corporate life, it never occurred to me to put these two things together until she said that. And she was thinking about lunch.
Right.
But I don't think that way.
No, that's not the Debbie Lizinski way.
And so that's how my first live event was born. I started talking to my best clients, and I said, look, I have this idea that I'd really love to immerse you in my book. Instead of just teaching you how to eat and how to hydrate and exercise and rest and all the 5 basic tenets in my book, I'd love to set up a scenario where you can actually just immerse yourself in that. What do you think? And by the way, we're going to do it on a beach in Mexico somewhere in the middle of winter. So at that point, they were in.
Yeah. So what did you notice about doing, because I build live events, obviously you came here, mm-hmm. That's why we live in a conference facility, mm-hmm. Like my husband and my one child and I do not need 16,000 square feet. But what I have personally noticed is the transformation that happens when you're actually can touch a human being is dramatic. Did you see something similar?
Absolutely. We arrived as basically strangers. Although we had this across the desk relationship, I hadn't lived with them and eaten with them and exercised with them and gone swimming with them. So right away there was this connection and a bonding, and there were some people that shared stories that they'd never shared before. They had a chance to really dig deep, and the transformation in all of us was remarkable. I mean, of course we were glowing from the sun and we had all eaten well. Who goes on vacation and comes home with their clothes being loose and baggy?
Oh, I love that. Lose weight on vacation.
Right? And so it was really remarkable to see the transformation in my guests. And what was even more remarkable was what happened within the 6 months when we all got home. And
can you talk about some of those specific results?
Yeah, actually, I had one client there who's a mom of, she's got, I think, 9 children.
Oh.
6 were special needs adopted children.
Okay.
And she'd always wanted to become a yoga instructor, but she waited until her kids were independent, and she became a yoga instructor.
That's awesome.
Isn't it amazing? And another one wrote a book.
Uh-huh.
Another one admitted out loud for the first time that she had a drinking problem and sought treatment right away.
Wow.
Another one expanded her business, and so I thought, this never would have happened in 6 half-hour sessions across the desk. We needed the power of the group you know, and now there's this sisterhood among these women that exists to the point where before we left, they asked, when can we do this again?
Yeah,
You
which
know?
is exactly what you want from your clients, right? It can be challenging to find a client, but then what a lot of people do is they put them in and out and they're just always looking for new clients and new clients. I love to like work with people and go deep and work with them for a long time and see more and more results. And I think one of the things that's interesting about those results you shared is, even though I'm sure people lost weight, it wasn't really just about the pounds.
Right.
And the thing about weight loss or writing a book or any deep work that you trust a coach to help you with, it's always going to be more about what's on the surface. The weight is a symptom of not being that yoga instructor or not getting that book written or not admitting that drinking problem. Like those are all ways we're using weight to cover up those deeper issues.
Exactly.
For you, when you compare like the personal satisfaction of running a retreat and doing that deeper work with 30-minute sessions across a desk, how is it for you, just energetically? And
Well, after that trip, I found it a chore to focus again on the individual private weight coaching because I just wanted to plan another trip where I can take these people away, a new bunch of people, and show them how great it could be, and then afterward follow up with them and help them through the program. And so it totally shifted my energy because it was so much more rewarding to see these transformations, and that's why I'm in it. That's why I'm a coach.
love that. So you may have an individual practice, maybe a therapy practice, a nutrition practice, personal training, and you're charging per session and you're wondering, how can I make more money? And it feels like it's about you and your bills. And how can I maybe work less because you're working a ton of hours? And what I love about your journey, what I think it really shows is, yep, you got to work less hours and make more money, which is great. But what's underneath that is you got to be in your zone of genius. You got to spend more time doing work that you loved instead of work that you were just good at. Because just because we can do something doesn't mean we have to.
Correct.
Right? That's
Correct.
my entire corporate career. So, so is there a way that you could actually be making more money, have more time for yourself, more in your zone of genius, and then, crazy miracle, getting tremendous transformational results for your clients? And that's what I think, for me, the journey that I've watched you in the last 14 months go on is there's so much more than weight loss. It's a doorway to so much growth and transformation.
So true, so true. The weight loss was just the start of my new life, and I don't even know where I'm going yet. You know, there's so much more to come.
And when we decoupled you from your office, from the need to be in an office, something else happened in your personal life, or is happening now?
Well, I'm moving.
Yes.
I'm no longer geographically tied to any one place. And so I decided with my husband to pick up and move to Florida. And so we're right now in the process of buying and selling, and it's very exciting.
It's so exciting. So maybe there's a new, warm, sunny location for you. One of the things I love about your new house is there's a great place for retreats.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. I saw that pool. I am ready to dive in it. So I will be there very soon, I think January.
I can't wait.
So there's so much that I want you to know is possible for you if you're feeling tied to an office, tied to maybe insurance payments, or the grind of always having to get new clients walking through the door. There are opportunities you may not be able to see that a book could bring into your life. How does it feel just being an author, having a book?
That was a surreal moment, to know that I had given birth to a book that was going to live forever. And I soon realized that an author is contained in the word authority. So I am the authority.
Yeah.
On my book.
So great.
And so it's just, it has a lot of cachet when you talk to people that have never written a book and they get all excited and like, ooh, you're an author and let me touch you. And, you know, so it's very exciting.
Celebrity component. Well, There is so much more than just getting your book written that opens when you get that book into people's hands and you start changing people's lives. I hope hearing Debbie's story gave you some inspiration for what might be possible for you. I know you probably didn't expect the last 14 months to go the way they have.
No way.
And hopefully we'll be back here a year from now with even crazier stories because we are cooking up some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Very excited about what is next on this journey. And I know another book is probably going to happen this year as well.
I think so.
Fantastic. Well, stay tuned for updates on Debbie's amazing journey. And I am going to stay tuned for updates on your journey. I hope that you will share with me where you're at now, and maybe someday, 14 months from now, we can sit on these very chairs here at the Author Castle and talk about how your life and the lives of your clients have been transformed. You can see a link to apply right on the page, or you can always head over to theauthorincubator.com/apply. Debbie, thanks again for being my guest.
Thank you so much, Angela.
And thank you guys. We love that you are part of how we change the world, one book at a time.